Welcome back to my channel. My name is Crisalda. I'm glad you're here. If you have watched the previous videos, you have seen we spoke about the measuring tools and we spoke in detail regarding the tape measure. Now I want to talk about the cutting tools. You'll be surprised I have lots of scissors. If you come into this industry, you become addicted with the tools, with fabrics. Those who are in the industry will agree with me. With my 20 years experience, I want to tell you that every time I go to the shop, even if I'm not going to the fabric shop, when I see the fabric shop, I have to check around and definitely I'll buy something because that's me, I love sewing. Then I want to talk about you. If you're a beginner or you've been in the industry, if you've been in the industry, I know you know why we have different scissors. All these are my scissors, but I want to talk about the cutting tool in sewing. These are all scissors, as you can see. These are all my scissors. The rotary cutter as well. These nippers, the small tiny scissors. So why do we have different scissors? Even if you don't have a lot, but I want to tell you, especially when you do patterns with papers and when you cut fabrics, you always need to have at least two scissors. One must be for the fabrics, the other one should be for papers. And remember, the paper, the one that you use to cut paper, is the same scissor that you need to cut the interfacing, the violin. I don't know what you call it, but yes, you see that the fabric we use for stiffness, that one, the one that you iron on, it's more like a paper when you tear it. So it's not part of fabric, it's part of papers. So you use your paper scissor to cut the interfacing or the violin. So the reason I have lots of scissors is because I have sewing classes, so I mostly use them for the student for sewing classes. But then there are scissors which are specifically for papers when we do patterns. There are scissors which are specifically for fabrics. In other words, I just want to tell you that you mustn't use one scissor for fabrics, for papers. That scissor won't last. Then somebody might be asking herself or himself, how will I know that this is a paper scissor? How will I know this is a fabric scissor? You need to mark them. You don't go to the shop and say, I want a paper scissor, I want a fabric scissor. Always you need to, you can buy it. Let's say now I've got two. They just look the same. Then I will mark one saying, this one is for the papers. Then I mark this one for fabrics. Every time I know when I want to work with my sewing projects, I've got two scissors for different projects. Then there's this one, the rotary cutter. If you're a beginner, the rotary cutter, it has different sizes as well. This part, once you open it, you slide it open. That's a scissor. So it's a cutting wheel, which you can replace the blade every time you think it's not sharp anymore. But then the tricky part about the rotary cutter, you don't use it from any surface. It works well when you have a cutting mat. Unfortunately, my cutting mat is on the other side. I'll show you. But you need, if let's say you want to cut your fabric, after marking and everything, that's where you need to have a surface, at least like a cutting mat, so you protect your blade so it mustn't get bent very soon. Then the small ones, these ones, the nippers. I prefer these ones when I do sewing. Let's say now I'm on my sewing machine. I'm busy sewing. Then immediately I finish, instead of having the bigger scissor to cut with it, because the bigger scissor you can make mistake and accidentally cut your fabric, but you wanted to cut just the thread. So I prefer using the smaller one, the nipper one. Those who are working on embroidery as well, they use the smaller one as the embroidery scissors. So the nippers as well works well when you are doing it's not cutting the fabrics. I use it to cut the thread every time after sewing, just nicely like that. So this is what I'm using, my small scissors or nippers for the So these are my cutting tools. I hope we have learned that we have cutting tools in sewing. We've got different scissors for different projects, which works well and makes our scissors to last longer. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't followed my videos, my channel, please subscribe, like, and share the videos. See you in the next video. Sew it with love, sew it with passion. Happy sewing.